Okay, so on my previous channel, I talked about how I wanted to bring up the whole sexual aspect of gang stalking when you're a woman, because when you're a woman being gang stalked, like it's just different. I would imagine it's different than when you're a man who's being gang stalked. And I just wanted to just came to some realizations, and I just thought I'd share some of them. So in the beginning, when I was being gang stalked, um, a lot of it had to do. Well, a lot of it started off very sexual. And what I mean by that was I had a peeping tom, and just had some men across the way watching me from my window, um, doing what girls do, just changing, doing my hair, masturbating, shit like that. Um, yeah, so there's a very sexual aspect to the beginning of my harassment and abuse. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that the people who were watching me from the window, first of all, I'm pretty sure the reason they were watching me from the window to begin with was because of the fact that they were watching me. But then, in addition to that, I also had, I just had a situation where, uh, due to the fact that they were watching me just for surveillance purposes, then they saw the whole sexual aspect of that thing, and it was just then it led to just other things, and by that I mean being lined up with male after male. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever watched that episode of Black Mirror where they create a program or something that's going to help you 100% find your partner. And in the episode, they do it from the perspective of a girl and a guy looking for the love of their lives, and they get matched or whatever, but then they get unmatched, and then the guy, he's like just sitting there kind of alone or whatever, but the girl, she gets matched with another guy after another guy after another guy, and she's like fucking another guy after another guy after another guy, and then he like fucks another girl or something like that, but eventually they wind up being back together. Um and that's kind of well, not well, yeah, that's kind of what being lined up with suitor after suitor after suitor, that's something that you might notice is something that's happening with you if you are a female going through this. And honestly, part of me thinks that a lot of it has to do with once again social engineering. Just that whole needing the next generation of a lot of people ask why they're being gang stalked, why this is happening, why that is happening, and stuff like that. And I think a lot of it has to do with a whole bunch of reasons. Like, I think there's many reasons for why certain people just become, like put on display for voyeuristic reasons and whatever reasons these social engineers, have. But some of us, you're put on that list for gang stalking because of for reproductive reasons, for it's a whole host of things. I really don't know, but at the end of the day, though, I know that there's a sexual element to my abuse, and just uh, it was almost as if I was being what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost as if they were trying to make my life as difficult as possible in order to wear me down, so that the first male that the first penis that's around, and it's trying to act like a safety blanket, or a space of security, I would just go running to that, and stay there, and reproduce, and then bring in the next, yeah, just offspring of other watched people. Um but um but honestly, I feel like even when it comes to this whole pandemic and things like that, like the whole purpose of working from home, the reason that they've had everyone work from home, the reason why they've had this whole societal reshuffling, I mean, the reason why they've had this whole thing is because they're trying to reshuffle society. When you are working from home, they can monitor you a lot better. When everyone is in, when you know where everyone is, it's just a lot easier to plan your steps and to monitor and do all this other shit. But you know, once again, but that's on another topic. But yeah, back to the whole sexual aspect of gang stalking. When you're a woman, it's like you're constantly, you're on display, and you're on display for males, much like how you are in real life. But these males, they have access to you when you are in very intimate settings. Your bathroom, your bedroom, with all the curtains covered and shit like that. They just still have access to you. Um, and yeah, it can just be a lot. Like it's just a lot. It's just a lot because as a woman, and especially because so many of us deal with sexual assault and abuse, before we're even teenagers. You know, the last thing you ever want is to be. It's just. And I know this video is kind of weird, or it sounds very. This might be my poorest quality video because I don't really think I'm ready to talk about this topic. I really don't. So I guess you can consider it like a part one. But yeah, just the whole. I don't know. Like literally, it's just like some Handmaid's Tale type shit. It's you get older and then you realize like everything you thought about life was just a lie. It's like. And you're just being corralled from one situation to the next, one scenario to the next, where it's like you just have to. I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like life is just like it's one of those things where you either play the game or you go. And sometimes, depending on what cards you were dealt, depending on what people want you to be, depending on what, people want your life to be. Because, during this gang stalking thing, they do things. Of course, if you're on this channel, you already know how they like to limit your access to to money and shit like that. They like to sit there and financially restrict you. They like to socially restrict you. They like to do all these different things. And of course it's to make you feel helpless. Of course it's to make you feel put you in a state of dependency. Of course it's to put you in a position to where you're powerless, or at least you feel powerless, so that someone with more authority and more freedom than you can just can in many ways just have their way with you. Or it's all about corralling you, but in a way where it's like you're given a choice. And I put air quotes there, like you're given a choice, air quotes there, because it's like when you're financially restricted, and when you're you got a shitty family, when all this other shit is going on and you're a woman, like there really aren't too many options for you. I've had instances where when I was about to be out on the streets and things like that, it's always funny how it's in those moments, all of a sudden you're being propositioned for things like sex work by random strangers you never met. And it's like, no, I'm not about to sell my body for, like, I sell drugs before I sold my body. Like, I don't know what people be on, but But at the end of the day, there's just, but you, once again, like, I really don't know how I would feel about, well, I do know. I know what it's like to have my stalkers become infatuated. I do know what that's like. And it's gross. It's pretty gross, honestly, because you have this idea of love being this spontaneous, or this I don't know, or at least if it's because, as a woman, like, guys all already do this thing where they watch you and then they figure out details about you, and then they approach you with this curated image of who they are, so that they can so that they can just so that they can manipulate you into choosing them. um but uh but at the end of the day, it's like, it's just but at the end of the day, with gang stalking, it's just different, you know, because at the end of the day, those guys off the street, they don't have intimate details about you unless you share it with them. But with your harassers, they have intimate details about you without you sharing it with them. It's seriously like a form of rape. Honestly, I would consider it a form of rape. I would consider it a form of sexual assault. It's all that. It's all that. And voyeurism. It is. I wouldn't even consider it that. Technically, it is. Um, but but I also just mean not just a form of like physical rape, but I mean like a form of just a situation where you're intimately violated against your will. And that's what gang stalking is, and that's kind of what it feels like being in a relationship with these guys, that you realize are just your infatuated harassers or your infatuated handlers. It's like, and for some women, especially women, very, because I recognize that my sister, she's also being, gang stalked, like she's a part of it. Um, but with her, it's like, she's always just accepted. She's always had a very what's the word I'm looking for? Survival mindset when it comes to romance and love and things like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I don't either. I'm really no I'm no different really in many aspects and regards. But it's just I just I don't have the same I just don't have the same certain limitations that she might, because I'm not a mother. I'm not looking for like a, I'm not in like a dire situation where and she isn't either, to be honest. But at the end of the day, it's just, once again, I'm probably gonna have to remake this video, but I just kind of want to begin getting my thoughts out about, just how people try to sit there and socially engineer your life to a point where it's like it's like they just try to socially engineer your life to a point where you could have been someone who had a whole different life, but because they decided, let's put this person through so much trauma that they can't even focus on school, they can't even focus on this or that, so that they, it's kind of like they're trying to force a ceiling on you, they're trying to force a cap on you. you know we need more people in this sector of society, so let me put you through this and that, so that we can have more people in this sector of society that are like, XYZ. It's just one of those situations. And it's just, once again, it just feels like a lot of your free will is just taken away. I feel like I'm just part of some, social experiment that I never signed up for. um and then, you're faced with a decision of, moving on from this plane, or it's like, you got to play the game, or move on. And it's really gross, and with my sister, to her, she thinks that the most miserable thing in the world is being like our single aunts who one of them was married actually, but her husband died, so but being like our aunts who decided that they'd rather be single than settle for whatever reasons. um and she views them as guided by trauma, but to be honest, and she sees her in some type of freer state, which is weird because, and to be honest, she's just as guided by trauma as they are. She's looking for her next husband, her man, because she feels like she couldn't survive without. But at the end of the day, it's just this social engineering shit just goes deep, and just if you're a woman who's experiencing gang stalking, just understand that you might your handlers might become infatuated with you, and they might try using whatever information is that they have about you to coerce you into being with them. And honestly, it's up to you. If you like them, go for it. If you don't care, sure. When everyone's a handler, it's kind of you gotta reach a point where it's like, well, sure, I guess I'll be with the handler that likes me. Sure, why not? But yeah, it's just still gross. Like, I don't, it's just gross. It just makes you feel icky and disgusting, and it's just weird. Like, it's really, really weird. Like, I really don't, yeah, I'm gonna just have to remake this video, but it's just, yeah, life's a bitch, You get fucked and then you die. That is life for you. You just get fucked and then you die. And that's if you're lucky. But yeah, just this social engineering shit just goes deep. And yeah, if you are a woman, yes, you are being intimately violated. You really are. But but your handlers don't care. No one really cares. Like, once you realize, first of all, this whole life thing, like I said in a video that apparently didn't get uploaded, I just came to the realization that nothing on this earth is coincidence. Like, literally nothing about it is coincidence. And you either just play the game or move on. And you got to decide which you're going to be and which, you just got to decide. And the game, is constantly going to it's the game is constantly going to try to get you to play it. Like, it's constantly going to ask you or try to convince you to play. Keep playing, keep playing. And I'm not saying that if you decide to play, that you're worse off or better off than any of the other decisions. I really don't know what the other decision would look like, but you gotta admit, sometimes I think like, yeah, maybe moving on just would be better because, who wants to live a life where, I don't know, it's just, yeah, but yeah, just, that awareness, just awareness, fucking, that fucking awareness, Nothing in this life is a coincidence, and you either play or you don't. And if you do play, I don't even know what the reward for playing is, to be honest. I guess it's blissful ignorance, Like, when I was ignorant of all the shit that was going on, that life really didn't seem so bad. It really didn't. Nothing seemed so serious, if I should say it like that, Like, it was bad, having all those fortunes, they suck no matter what, whether you're aware of, the larger scheme of things or not. And actually, honestly, when you become more aware of the larger scheme of things actually take on a less serious and a less intense kind of, there's a period of intensity, but that's only when you're starting to get the big picture. When you're starting to get the big picture, you're gonna get paranoid as fuck. You're gonna get terrified as fuck. But once you really grasp the larger picture, and there's still more to grasp, but once you grasp more of the larger picture, you just kind of reach a point where you're like, yeah, you just kind of reach a point where you're like, well, you either play the game or you don't, you just kind of reach the point of acceptance is what I'm really trying to say. And yeah, that's just kind of, it's like, fuck, like, is this really the life I'm making? You look at the cards that you've been dealt and you realize that nothing is coincidence, but you look at the life that you've been dealt, it's like, why the fuck did I have to, like, what? It makes you ask more questions about what happened before you got here, like, why did I have to live the life that was the most close or akin to being like, like, once again, like I said, like these victims of gang stalking, a lot of times they're the people that are just, I don't know, a lot of them are so many nobodies, it's just, I don't even know. But yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about this whole sex and gang stalking thing. You might, your handlers might become infatuated with you, and you can either decide to let one of them, be your partner, or decide against it. Um, if you decide against your handlers or your suitors being your suitor, you faced, what's the one before? I don't know. It's honestly all up to you and what you can tolerate. It's like, but just remember that these people, they're, I don't know. It's just, there's just some people really out here trying to make sure that, you know, yeah, it's kind of like you're viewed as like just cattle for breeding. Like, that's really what it is. You have aspirations of this and that, but someone's like, nah, you're going to be for breeding. And it's just, and it's like, fuck you and whatever your original goals were. Nah, we're going to put you through all this traumatic shit so that you just, so that you just want to, so that you just can't go any higher. You would have to be like a robot just to get past, all the shit we put you through. And we know you're not a robot, so the odds of you getting through it are next to never. So welcome to yeah, you know, it's just, and that's just, kind of the life as a woman in general. You're just constantly being limited. You're just constantly being told to limit yourself. You're just constantly being told these are your options. Pick one. Um, and of course, as a man, those are the situation. That's the situation too. But the thing is, when society asks men to limit themselves, they at least get rewarded with power. When women are asked to limit themselves, we aren't rewarded with any type of moral authority. We're not rewarded with power. We're not rewarded with anything that makes us more that makes our ability to influence this world greater. No. When women are asked to limit themselves, they become just that, limited. When men are asked to limit themselves, they get access to things like power and authority and control and all this other shit just doesn't come with the that just doesn't come with being, female and things like that. Um, and so as a woman, you're just constantly, it's like you just constantly have to settle. Life is just constantly forcing you to settle. You fuck that guy who's ugly because he has a nice personality. You push out kids for that ugly ass dude who's broke, but he has a nice personality. you know um you do this and that, you're with someone who's dumber than you, uglier than you, all these other shits because, well, it's just as a woman, your life is literally just settling, settling, settling. It's just a series of settling from one thing to the next. And being demanded to settle, not even asked to settle, but demanded. And it's pretty fucking gross. Because at least, if your handlers are going to be, infatuated with you, you can get a handler who's, at your level at least. But then you get handlers that aren't even at your fucking level. Maybe you ask them to change or some shit. And then finally, when they change to something that's more at your level, then they're acting like they're too good for you. Like, it's just the stupidest shit ever. But, but yeah, as a woman, you're just constantly being asked to settle. And it's like, it's bad enough, as a woman, dating without gang stalking, but then when you add gang stalking to the mix, then you realize, oh shit, like I have to, like you're literally like, if you're a woman and you're dating one of your handlers, you're really settling. You really are. That's a big settlement you're making. I'm willing to settle for the creep who watches me, masturbate in my fucking room when all the lights are off. Like, that's pretty fucking weird and creepy. You're dating the creep. And to be dating a creep that kind of just, that's just a low, it's a low, it's just putting the bar down. It's putting the bar down in hell. And and then on top of that, it's not even a handsome creep. It's not even a creep. It's just, yeah, like I said, as a woman, you're just constantly being asked to settle. And despite the fact that when men settle, when men sacrifice, it comes with something. When you're a woman and you're told to sacrifice and settle, it really doesn't come with much. It just really doesn't. Um, and yeah, that's just just going in on that sexual aspect of gang stalking. You're just constantly asked to settle for just more and more bullshit, and you still just don't even get what you deserve. You still don't even get, you just don't really get much of anything. And then this world will sit there and try to make you think that it's more noble to to lower your pride, more noble to, you know, do some other shit. But no, honestly, that's up for you to decide. But just personally, I yeah, it's really all about what you can tolerate and what you decide. Um, but unfortunately, with some women, it's you're just constantly getting stalked and harassed, and then you're just, and that's just it. And that's just it. And there's just so much to it, and in this society, especially in the age of surveillance, where social engineering is at an all-time high, yeah, you're just your handlers have already dehumanized you, um, with the gang stalking, but then they dehumanize you some more with the chattel dating. And it's just, yeah, and it just sucks. But um but at the end of the day, though, once again, I really don't know how to. I don't even know how a woman would even stop that from happening. I don't even know how a woman would even, like you're being watched in your most intimate settings. Like, that's just it is what it is. Like, you're not gonna ever. You're just never gonna yeah, you're never gonna be able to get away from that. Um, and honestly, if you fall for one of your handlers, look, that's all you. That's all you. But but yeah, it's just pretty it's just yeah, that's all it is.